You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma Podcast. Mike Hearn here, your host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today, but before we do, I've got to thank our sponsors. First of all, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. They've been a huge part of this podcast for the last few years. So the Oklahoma Hall of Fame have been sharing Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to oklahomahof on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is the Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. A huge shout out to Governor Anatoby for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. Our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them, do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, host, back with another episode down in Nichols Hills Plaza today at Rumble Boxing. I haven't boxed ever. The only thing that came to mind when I thought about Rumble and boxing was my dad used to hold pads for somebody, and he used to do me to like jab cross, and I was like, I don't know, 6. Haven't thrown a punch since. But I see a lot of people coming here, and I see a lot of smiling faces, and it seems like a great way to get exercise in. So we're going to learn about that today, because my guests are Kelly and Kristin, who own Rumble Boxing, as well as a bunch of other businesses in this area, which we'll dive into. But thank you guys for inviting me down today. Excited to share your story.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, really appreciate it.
Yeah, I guess we'll start off. I mean, how'd you guys meet? Start there.
Oh my gosh, we've been married for 18 years, going on 18 years. Mm-hmm. We met in college. I'm from a small town west, Weatherford. Mm-hmm. Moved up here to go to a small private school, Oklahoma Christian University, and Kelly played basketball there. Mm-hmm. He was quite a bit older than I am.
Yeah, I was 3.5 years older than you.
4 years.
4 years, yeah.
And we met in college, and the rest is history. Got married very young. I was 21. He was almost 25. Mm-hmm. And waited, now we've 18 years in, and we have a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Oh, so yeah. You guys waited. Good
we
for
waited.
you.
We had a good time.
Yeah. We traveled a lot.
Yeah.
Didn't know if we wanted to have kids. And then during COVID, I think it kind of made us realize we're getting old, and it's time to have kids if we're ever going to do this. Yeah. Otherwise, we're going to be in a wheelchair for our kids' graduation. So.
Right.
We enjoyed our freedom.
That's awesome. So, Kelly, you played basketball. Uh-huh. Kristin, were you athletic as well?
I played golf through high school pretty competitively and enjoyed it, but got good and burnt out before I graduated high school and didn't, not past that. Mm-hmm. And then, when we got married, Kelly refuses to do anything that I'm better at him at. So
yes. I played golf with her one time, and she dominated me. And so I gave it up after about 2 years of marriage with you. So
all the things I grew up doing, snow skiing.
I hate snow skiing.
Well, he's just, it's because I'm better. So he hates anything that I can dominate at.
Yeah, I can't ski. I say that. I've never tried skiing because it scares me. Because I have 2 left feet, and at 33 I am now, I will break something.
You will. If you start that late in life, there's no way you won't.
It's not worth my time.
I started when I was 3. We're starting our boys young. It's not something to pick up later in life.
No,
it's just not
Definitely
not safe.
Not. So let's talk about kind of entrepreneurship and like what examples you had growing up of entrepreneurship, because you guys have multiple businesses. I want to know where that comes from.
Yeah, so like I said, grew up in Weatherford. My mom was a school teacher for just a minute, and then as soon as she got pregnant with my sister, she stayed at home with both of us. And my dad was in life insurance whenever I was just really young, started his own life insurance company out in Weatherford, and then did that for, I don't know, 12-ish years, and decided to just completely do a 180, and he opened Alfredo's Mexican Cafe in Weatherford whenever I was in 8th grade, and still maintained his insurance company as well, and but yeah, opened Alfredo's in Weatherford, and then went on to open 3 more. So,
okay. So do you grow up in the restaurant as well?
Yeah. I mean, so it's funny. My sister grew up waiting tables on during summers, and I always refused to be a part of the family business. I was a lifeguard or, babysat or whatever. And then I graduated college and was the one that jumped in and went full time in the restaurants with my dad and Kelly, and did the catering for 14 years.
Yeah.
For Alfredo's. So.
Wow, that's awesome. I did not expect you to say that.
And then my sister went on to be a therapist, so she had nothing to do with them after that, and I was the one that refused.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never. But
now you're
it was
in
great. Yeah.
Kelly, what about you?
My dad was a Church of Christ preacher at a church in Edmond. Went to Oklahoma Christian, and then thought I was going to go to law school.
Okay.
Did the LSAT, did all that. Thought we were going to move to Alabama when we first got married, and then got talked into coming on in the restaurant business in Alfredo's more back in 2006, and fell in love with it. We loved it. We did that for about 11 years, 10, 11 years, until we branched out. We opened up 3 other Alfredos, and then we kind of got to the age where, like, if we want to grow our business, it's time. Sure. And so then we got in with the Fuzzies group and opened up 3 of those. And then that also went into Cycle Bar that same year with Fuzzies, wasn't it? 2017? Yeah,
so we ended up buying Cycle Bar in 2015. And then it took 2 years to open Cycle Bar Classen Curve over here. We opened in 2017. And then I think in 2016 is whenever you joined the social order to do Fuzzies, and opened also in 2017. So we're crazy. Everything we do comes all at the same time. It continues to do so to this day. So opened Cycle Bar and jumped into fitness.
And loved it. And Cycle Bar was great. We went over to the Classen Curve, which was a great location for us. It was like the premier, it still is the premier shopping area of Oklahoma City. And it's been very good to us for the last, 7 years?
Yeah, I mean, I bought in 2015 and said, like, look, I'm doing this only if I can open in Classen Curve. That was the only location I wanted. I knew as soon as we bought it, exactly where I wanted to go. I didn't look anywhere else. I went straight to them and secured a spot pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Still took 2 years to open just because construction and all of that, but loved fitness, loved it. It was completely different from restaurants. We still are in restaurants, love them. It's a grind. Fitness is too, though, but it's a different grind, and people are so happy to come in, and they're choosing to be there, and we loved it so much we chose to expand in fitness as well, and did exactly that.
When you say you bought Cycle Bar, is that just for Oklahoma City or for the state?
So I initially just bought one studio. I was 30 years old and kind of terrified and taking a huge risk and a huge leap of faith. So I was I think I could only convince him to let me do one.
It was actually a fight.
It was a big fight. Yeah. It was a big fight. Jumped all in with just one. Found out almost immediately that I loved it. And we both did. And when I tried to do the others, the territory had already been sold.
Okay.
With Cycle Bar. So that wasn't an option for me at the time, which is where Rumble enters the picture. I was pretty determined to expand in fitness one way or the other. So I did a big exploratory trip to New York City, took a lot of classes, tons of fitness classes, and discovered Rumble there actually, but it wasn't a franchise. And so I thought, I'm going to copy this concept and bring it back to Oklahoma City. And then that was fall of 2019. winter 2020, COVID, so that put a huge halt to any plans of expanding. And then coming out of COVID, our parent company that owns Cycle Bar said, "We've acquired Rumble. Who wants it?" And I was like, "Me.
Yeah.
I'll take the whole territory this time, not having another Cycle Bar situation." But also found out I was pregnant at the same time. So knew that I didn't, what it took. Cycle Bar Classen Curve was the best thing that's ever happened to us, and also the hardest thing and the hardest I've ever worked in my life. And I think it added 10 years to my life, truly, in the best way. But knew that I didn't, maybe having a baby on the way, have quite as much to give as I did the first time around. So I quickly decided to bring on a partner, and I did exactly that. Stacy Mitchell is my partner here at Rumble Boxing. Again, best choice I ever made. She's amazing. She's so charismatic and has energy to boot. I mean, she's incredible. So she's my partner here, and we've opened 2. We bought the whole territory. We'll open a 3rd next year. And then after that happened, the ownership group here in Oklahoma City at the other Cycle Bars wanted out. So then here we are with 3 Rumbles on the way, 2 more Cycle Bars, and I asked for it. So
That's awesome. I love that. And I can't wait to dive into just why you keep self-sabotaging yourself with being busy it's
a great way of putting it.
I
Right?
haven't even brought up Dave's. I don't even remember when Dave's came in the picture at that point, but.
So, couple of things. What's the biggest difference between restaurant industry and fitness industry as a business owner?
I don't know if there's as much as people would think. I think it comes down to getting the right employees in place. I know as cliche as that sounds, but getting the people that are passionate about that industry. The fitness industry, your instructors are so important, and your management team and your upper level management team is so important, because to do this type of a job, you have to be passionate about it. You have to want to better people's lives, inspire people, develop those relationships in the community. The restaurant business is the same way. It's just is done on a broader scale, in my opinion. Whereas fitness will have 400 members, 500 members total, and that's how many people we feed in a day at a restaurant. And so it's just smaller relationships at the restaurant, smaller snapshots of relationships at the restaurant, opposed to more longer established relationships in fitness. But it's at the end of the day, it's the same. Yeah.
Do you find it easier? Easier and not easier is probably not the right word, but just in the long run with the membership model, people don't buy memberships to restaurants, sadly, right? But you can, really work hard in the beginning, build your base, build a relationship with everyone, sell memberships, and then maintain that. It seems like for someone who doesn't own a business, seems like that would make more sense and be a little easier than constantly marketing a restaurant, competing with everyone else.
It is and isn't. I think that what I always tell everybody is everyone eats. All the time. And so you have 3 meals, maybe 4 meals a day, 7 days a week. And so there's a lot of opportunity to grab that market share of people, because there's especially in today's world, everyone's going out to eat or door dashing or to go. Fitness is different. Everyone goes in waves. If you have your 10 to 15% that are the consistent ones, then people like me, sadly, that work out, really hard for like 6 weeks and then don't work out for 6 weeks. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to eat. I'm going to go to Fuzzy's. I'm going to go to Dave's. I'm going to go to Alfredo's on a consistent basis. Maybe Popeyes every once in a while. But I think it's more cyclical in the fitness industry.
I do. I would agree that I think that I would say the opposite. I would say that getting members and holding on to them is difficult. Member retention is hard in fitness, and it's like proven. There's a statistic that shows that people stick to typically the life cycle of fitness is fad for people, and it's seasonal and it's cyclical, and so the average life expectancy of a membership is 8 to 9 months. So we're constantly having to generate new leads, and get new people in and new triers in and evolve and stay fresh, and that is something that has been challenging. Mm-hmm. And is a constant challenge.
Yeah. So how do you maintain those relationships on the fitness side in regards to like Rumble and Cycle Bar then? And how do you go about doing that that's different to running a restaurant?
We've recently launched a member perks program. So we've partnered with other businesses in the community, so that whenever you come on to Rumble and you become a member, not only are you a member here, but you have a list of businesses here that you get an additional discounts at, or perks. We have membership only VIP things that we do in studio. We try to hit those quarterly and just focus on loving our members, because it's easy to, constantly be focusing on events that drive people in and to get new leads and to focus outward, but you have to love on your people that are coming every day.
Well, and I think that's
to do that.
A good point, because how many weddings have we gone to of relationships that are developed at Cycle Bar or at Rumble, and how many parties and birthday parties and events just up here. We've your social life becomes the fitness business.
It is more than if you're successful at it and you want to be, and as an instructor here, or owning the businesses, it's more than just a workout. He's right. People come in and they're members, and they spend so much time with you each week that when they get married and when they have birthdays and when they're celebrating things, they want you there. So it's kind of like it becomes your social and your
well, and I think too, Mike, what you said earlier, like the restaurant industry, people come to eat, they move in, move out. The fitness is a little more raw emotionally. When you're sweating with somebody, when you're in there working out, when you're being vulnerable, honestly, in some of these positions, like at Cycle Bar or even at Rumble, it's just different. And so it creates a different level of trust, a different level of emotion, I think, than the restaurant business does.
Well, and everything you said kind of leading up to this too, kind of you've gone through most of all of the things I think that a small business owner could go through with COVID, restaurant industry, fitness industry. Like, you guys could probably consult with any other new business owners because you've been through it all, right? But the good thing as well on the fitness side is you get to be a customer and relieve so much stress. I'm sure that's happened a few times too. And you come in and you're like, I just want to jump on a bike and sit at the back of the class and be a customer for once.
Like, it's therapy.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, all the time. That is definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
So, and that's truly why I got into honestly. Like I said, I did the catering for Alfredo's Mexican Cafe for 14 years. So that crossed over with owning Cycle Bar and Rumble. Offloaded that 3 years ago, and then Cycle Bar and Rumble have been my focus. But I got into Cycle Bar truly because there was a very small local spin studio that I lived at. I would take 2 classes a day, and it was like a 20 bike studio, and it was impossible to get a spot. You could not. It was waitlisted across, and I was like, there's an untapped market here, and we need to do this. So anyways.
And also, people have Pelotons, right? They, and people, especially in this area, probably everyone has one. But what they don't have is that, what you said, that relationship and the community, exactly. And just, everyone has one, and maybe it becomes a coat rack or whatever it is, so they use it, 2 or 3 times a month. But they want to come and meet people and hang out and be with their girlfriends or guy friends and, cycle and do their thing, right?
Well, in post-COVID, I know that everybody's like, oh, post-COVID. But post-COVID, there was the market was extremely saturated, much more so than when we opened. We were the only boutique fitness in this entire neighborhood and area when we opened Cycle Bar. But post-COVID, there's a lot of other options out there. We're a lot more saturated. So what you have to have the culture and the community for people in your 4 walls. That's what sets you apart.
Yeah.
It's not optional if you want to rise above. It's a community. It's more than a workout.
Yeah. Tell me about that trip to New York and the discovering Rumble, and why you thought that boxing was something that was needed in this area. I went for 4 days, took 9 classes over 4 days, took some yoga classes, but we already have yoga here. Took some shred classes. I can't remember the name of it at the time, but also already, I thought, we have Orange Theory and we have all these other, HIIT sort of classes in Oklahoma City. Took some Pilates classes, could not hang. I could not even. It's torture.
I couldn't. Right. 10 minutes in, I was like, I'm not coordinated enough or something. I can't do this. So just fell in love with Rumble. And it wasn't that I thought Oklahoma City needed boxing. It was just what spoke to me the most and influenced me and moved me the most was Rumble. And I just thought it was such a cool brand. It started in Manhattan in 2017, and it is such a cool brand. And so I just, it's just something different.
Yeah.
Boxing, I mean, outside of like title, those 4, you go into like a ring and box, we have studios like that, but nothing like this existed.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I don't think people realize how hard boxing actually is, right?
It is.
I think there was these. I mean, have you seen these egg weights? You can.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That you use a 2-pound egg weight, and for people listening, like basically just like these little weights you put in your hands, a shadow box in the mirror, or to a YouTube video, whatever it is, like that will ruin you.
It'll kill
right?
you.
And you come out here and you're in there boxing, and like you was like.
I even said when I first took it, first time I ever took it was here in Oklahoma City, and I took my first class, and I walked out and I go, Kristin, I don't get it. I don't feel like I got a great workout in. And then I joke around now. I love it. I do it 3 to 4 times a week now.
He's obsessed.
And I've realized, like, and I say this all the time to our whole team, and they laugh at me. He says, but if you punch the bag hard, it wears you out.
He says, it's so funny. We're all like, okay. He's like, because, it is a foreign thing for people, and it's very intimidating to come in and do something
punch,
feel like you look funny, because you kind of do when you don't know what you're doing.
No one teaches you to punch growing up like they do riding a bike.
I've been in a fight my entire life.
It's a little bit intimidating, and so I think that part of our retention problem has been that, that it's confusing for them, and it's not the best workout because they just don't, until you know what you're doing, it isn't a great workout because you can't really go like get after it. And so when we were getting feedback when we first opened about it not being hard enough or something, it was frustrating for us because we're like, it is if you have to know what you're doing. And Kelly was like telling our instructors, just tell them to punch harder. And I was like,
which I don't know if that's the best advice.
Terminology. It's not,
but it's
like,
true though.
It's
if
more
you
about
punch
your
hard,
core and moving your hips a certain way and your stance and like using this shoulder to, anyways. And he's just like, no, just say punch harder if you're not getting. And I'm like,
they made fun of me pretty bad for it, but it's the truth for me.
To the guys, it makes sense.
To the guys, it makes sense.
He's like, he comes down here. We just office right upstairs, and he comes upstairs drenched.
Yeah.
Oh, I burn 800 calories in a class and feel great. I love it.
Yeah.
And but it took a while, like anything else. I remember the first time I spun at Cycle Bar. I mean, talk about a guy going into that setting with a bunch of females that it's a little more emotional. And I was like, same thing, and I couldn't figure it out. But then I started pedaling harder, and then it was for pedaling faster, and it was, and I fell in love with that too. But it's like anything else; you have to get used to it.
Well, yeah, and you have to kind of be vulnerable and give it what you really want to give it, right? Give it everything you have, right? Because you're right. My first spin class, and everyone's doing like their kind of like coordinated, going forward, backwards, all this stuff. I'm like, I thought I was pretty fit with like cycling. This is not good.
Totally different.
And then they have the leaderboard up there too, and you're like, oh, I'm doing really good. And in the last 10 minutes, someone with legs made of rubber bands and 50 years older than you destroys you.
Oh, or a little tiny female up in the front, you're like just killing you.
There's a science to it.
There is.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's dive deep into the Rumble then. As for people, someone's listening to this, they've never, they might have, this might be the first time they're hearing about Rumble, and they think, I want to get into a fitness class that's different, that really kind of is, gives me a good sweat. Tell me about, we can go into as much detail as you want here, like the classes, instructors, process,
Okay. So the class is 45 minutes. It's it's actually half boxing, half strength resistance and strength training. So there's a bench side, we call it our floor side. So you do 3 rounds on the bag side. So punching hard. You got to punch hard. That's the takeaway from today. And there are six punches that you learn. So that takes 2 or 3 classes, and you've got the 6 punches down. Outside of like adding in a duck here and there or something, once you have that down, you've got it. And so 3 rounds on the bag side, then they move over to the floor side for 3 rounds. And it's like I said, your bench is loaded with weights, brass knuckles. I think you call them
egg weights.
Weights,
Very
egg
similar to
weights.
that.
Okay.
There was
okay.
a company that they were called, I think, egg weights.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we've got brass knuckles for some shadow boxing, and then you do a whole 3 rounds on the floor side, and then switch again back to the bag side for 2 rounds, and end on the floor side for 2 rounds.
And every round's 3 minutes with about a minute break in between. So it moves
so you
pretty
really
quick.
don't. I mean, if you obviously it's a go at your own pace. Like you're in a dark room, lights are down, music is loud. It's very much a club vibe, you know. It's a party vibe. And you've got an instructor on a platform directing you both sides through the entire workout, and it's 10 total rounds. And you can go at your own pace, but with the pace that they set, if you keep at it, there's not a whole lot of, you know, time for, you know, you can keep going, you can push yourself as hard as you want and get as good a workout. But yeah, and we've got some different formatted classes, but that's the gist. It's fun. We've got several, you know, different strokes for different folks as far as trainers. If you like a club scene, you should take Stacy's class. She's like a
we have
party.
actual fighters too that teach as well.
Oh, wow.
And then we have people that are actually have a background fighting and are trained, and so they focus more on form and technique, and where your foot placement is and how your body's moving, and so we've got everything in between, a wide range, and it's kind of nice to mix it up and do it all so that you can learn the form and technique, but then also just come like let loose and go ham on a bag and work some.
Yeah, punch hard.
Punch hard.
Work something out.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that could be the title of this, Punch Hard.
Yeah, rumble boxing, just punch hard.
Just punch hard.
It needs to be sprayed on the wall somewhere. You've got great murals in this building.
Punch Hard by Kelly Allen. That's I want to trademark that.
Tell me about this building then. I mean, you got to that point. You got great murals in the building. It's some really cool artwork as well, and you know, great logo and all this stuff. So who did the Ali thing?
Dusty. Oh my gosh,
Gilpin?
he's
Gilpin, yeah.
Dusty Gilpin.
He's so good.
He is so talented. He did pretty much all of the local art in the building. There's some jabs downstairs. Our logo is like a bag, and we call it the jab. He did our jab signs downstairs. He did the Ali mural in the hall. And then, like I said, Rumble already was such a cool brand. And there's so much swagger that, I mean, just comes with being a part of the brand that, and like brand recognition nationwide. So, you know, it's when you buy it, it's, you know, you get all the graphics and logos and all of that and the colors. And then this specific space used to be a little French bistro.
Oh, wow.
It was so different. Little French bistro, and then you went downstairs, and you went down the hall and down the stairs. That was closed off. That's a firewall. That was a little boutique store facing the alley.
I think I remember that. What was it called?
Like
Black Swan?
Okay.
This was on cruise.
That's right, on
Before.
Cruise. I remember being in on
This
Cruise.
was on Cruise.
Totally different.
Which it was like
Cruise,
20.
St. Mark's.
Yeah.
It was just a little too small for what we needed,
Yeah.
and so I went back and forth with Ben and Shannon and Shane from this Washington Prime group about this is too small. This is perfect location. We want our office is right up the way. Cycle Board as well, and then I had the idea of possibly trying to connect the two, which is always challenging. But they were very receptive to it, and we figured out a pretty good flow to have that bottom kind of locker room feel down below.
I mean, if you go to New York City, the studios are 6,000 square feet on 3 levels. I mean, insanely big. So since it became a franchise, they've shrunk the footprint down quite a bit to be more like 2,000 feet. But because I had happened upon it, since I had experienced it in New York City, I wanted more of that vibe. So we went a little larger and brought in some of the things that are a part of the Signature Studios in Manhattan that are not a part of the studios now. So we have kind of like a hybrid of a Signature Studio versus the new concept. So it's a big, I mean, it's 3,600 square feet. And then we have a one-on-one room at the end of the community room you see there, where our guys that, Aaron that has a background in fighting, he does one-on-one training down there. Okay. So you can kind of like get with him one-on-one, especially if you're new to boxing and perfect the the punches and your form and get comfortable before you go in a class if you want. He's awesome.
Well, I would even recommend, I did it and you've done it too. And it really does teach you how to punch correctly. So you don't punch hard only. But I mean, we're actually using the right, but he teaches you the right form, right technique. And it's a really good intro to boxing, honestly.
And I think that you said your dad held mitts or something. He holds mitts. That's what you do down there with him. And I love that.
It's great.
I love it. It is a different workout than being on the bag.
Yeah, and I think people will not need to learn, but people will learn that, like, when you punch, you don't punch with just your arm, you punch with your entire body. Like you said earlier, you rotate, and it's a full body movement. I used to grow up watching Bruce Lee movies, and just like his one finger punch to me is just like the most mind blowing thing I think I've ever seen. But yeah, I mean, as far as a workout goes, like it's up there as like some of the hardest workouts, and when you're in a room and the music's going, you got your friends around you, or you got people around you that you just really connect with, and an instructor that's great, like, it makes fitness fun, doesn't it? Makes you look forward to it. It doesn't make you don't think of the cliche, I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym and lift weights and whatever, and like, no, it's just, this makes fitness fun.
Well, just like anything else, like it's how you feel after too, is you get addicted to that. It's like the runner's high, essentially. Like you get addicted after you recover and you drink a little water, you rest, get your heart rate down, you feel outstanding for the rest of that, and you're clear, more focused. I don't know, it's just it's a must.
And another, like I said about Rumble being such a cool brand, they curate like pretty amazing playlists. The music is so good.
It is great. It's unique.
And if music moves you and influences you, and that's your thing, and you like to work out, this combines the two. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. What's the demographic as far as just like your current customer base right now?
I would say 25 to 45 would be our typical demographic. Not that, we definitely have younger and older. Unlike Cycle Bar, it's a little more, it's still, group fitness is always a little more heavy, female based. But I would say, would you say it's 65, 40?
I'd say 70-30.
70-30.
70 female, 30 male, but like Cycle Bar is 90-10.
Yeah.
And so it's a little different demographic. I think that, again, just getting guys in here and seeing what it is important. It's hard because it's not chick fit. And I think a lot of people think that Rumble is just from what they see online, but it's not at all. And
I think men in general just like to, like you said, they go to a gym and they lift weights, and group fitness is not their thing. But this really is. If we've been really trying to to market and towards the male demographic to get in here and try it, because for the most part, when they do, they love it.
Yeah.
You put on gloves and you can.
And what makes this location, and Norman as well, but this location specifically good is this is a lifestyle center with Nichols Hills Plaza, with Classen Curve. You have Starbucks, you have Saturn Grill, you have Orange Theory, you have Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Lululemon, all those complementary businesses. So it makes it a lot, like you can come here, work out, even if you don't live around here, you can go shopping at Trader Joe's after. You can go get a coffee at Starbucks, go get lunch at Saturn. And so it really helps to complement our business. And whenever we were putting Classen Curve, Cycle Bar, and then Rumble here, like, you want to be around those things because it just helps so much.
This is the best area in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, in our opinion.
No, I definitely.
In our opinion.
Yeah. I'm going to lunch at Hutch after this.
Yeah, Hutch. So, we love Hutch.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a good spot to be in. The other question, as a small business owner, and you've been, what's it like compared to the franchise model? Comparing to being, I guess Alfredo's was.
Family owned.
Wasn't franchise, right? So what's that difference between?
There's good and bad to it. Some franchises do a better job than others. Some franchises they almost sell these things as business in a box. When it comes down to it, there's no such thing as business in a box. You still got to work it at the same level, whether it's a franchise or not. I think the only not the only one positive thing with franchises is you do have levels of support. So you have technology support, whereas Alfredo's, it's on your own. Like when you start up an individual gym or individual restaurant, it is, you get no price breaks on food, on equipment, on training, whereas franchises you do in theory. Again, some franchises do a better job of the support than others. I think Rumble has done a great job as doing support for us. as well as our restaurant. I think Dave's Hot Chicken has done outstanding with the support level. And so like if they develop a great sexy concept like a Rumble, and they're able to market it correctly and what's the word? Take it national. I don't know how better to say that. Basically to where they can scale it.
Yeah.
That's the way, that's what we're looking for. And then you can really just, if you operate it correctly, you know what you're doing, you hire the right people, you can make it profitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people get into franchising because it is a business in a box per se, but that doesn't mean that it just runs itself.
Right. Yeah.
It is the same amount of work, sometimes more. Everything, ebbs and flows. Sometimes, fitness is more work. Sometimes the restaurants are, and sometimes franchising is, and sometimes Alfredo's is.
Oh my goodness,
It all.
Yeah. The other thing that comes across from you guys just talking to you now is that like you look for opportunity always, no matter what's going on in life, no matter, and also when the opportunity comes around, you're not like, oh, we're already opening up, a bunch of restaurants. Like I'm going to turn down Cycle Bar, I'm going to turn down Rumble. Like you're all in. And I know that probably stresses you
Sometimes.
out as well.
It
right?
does, but it just for you, like every business, no matter what you're doing, if you're doing podcasts, if you're doing this, it ebbs and flows. And so we go from, Kristin laughs at me all the time because we're both fairly even keel publicly to our friends in public, but internally it's this all the time. And it's like, we have a bad night at the restaurant where we didn't sell as much as we normally do. It sticks with you a little bit. You have a great night at Rumble and you think, oh, this is easy. We're just dominating. This is no problem at all. This is so easy. Then the next morning you wake up and it just changes. And so,
well, and that's the thing with owning your own business. It's so wonderful, but it's also sometimes not wonderful at all. And that's when it's good, it's good for you. And when it's bad for us, And so it's, you ride the highs and you ride the lows and you're in it every step of the way. So.
What part of both of you keeps you going and looking and opening up more? Because what you have right now is enough for a lot of people.
I know,
right? And so there's something in you that keeps wanting you to do this.
So I think I don't know. I'm so. I'm a little all over the place. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a good thing. I feel like with us just having opened Rumble in Norman 3 weeks ago or a month ago, and Kelly opening Dave's exactly the same time, and having one of the biggest events that we do here in the city is called Sweat Fest. It's a huge fitness festival. That's our event. And that all of that happened at one time, and I was like, this is it. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Why do we continue to do this? We have to stop. We have to slow down. We have kids now, all of this. But then you get through that phase of crazy and feeling like you're at your wit's end, which I truly this time was. And then you almost get hungry for the next
you recover,
high.
and then you get bored, and you want to go do the next thing. It is what it is. You get a rush. And we always say that anxiety is a good thing sometimes. It keeps you going. And I think that's even goes into play with this is you start getting anxious and you're like, well, what else can we do? Where can I put this energy? And we'll find something else to put the energy in.
Good opportunities come along and you're like, you probably shouldn't do this, but I just, we have to. We don't have to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. That's the good thing too, right? It's like you've proven the model, that you're good at what you do. It's just how much do you want to take on, I guess. Yeah. And then, like you said earlier, Kelly is building a great team and having great employees so that when stuff does get crazy, you have people to rely on.
You can rely on.
And I think we do, and we've had great partners in the restaurant business. We have outstanding partners. We have layers now of great regional managers, area managers, operating partners that really help take some of that load off for sure. Well,
and growth is challenging in that there are a lot of, you kind of have to be willing to remove yourself from the things and the things that you love doing. I can't, I love people. I love relationships with people. I love spending time in studio, but with 4 studios now, it requires me to spend a little more time at my desk and not as much time in the studio, which is that's hard because that is what I'm passionate about. So, but growing, you have to be willing to put people in place and give up some of that control. And yeah, layers.
So finishing up, obviously, Small Business Saturday is coming up, and we're highlighting small businesses in this area, which you have not one, but you have multiple small businesses. But in regards to like Rumble and stuff, what do you guys have coming up around that time, and are you looking forward to and excited to tell people about?
We do a huge Black Friday every year at both Cycle Bar and Rumble. It's our biggest sale of the year. So if you're ever interested in trying us, it's the most inexpensive time to do so. We'll run some crazy good deals in both studios. Also, this is before Small Business Saturday, but we launch our Black Friday with what we call Fight Night, and it is pretty epic. It is so fun. It's like it's not a normal class structure. It's not something that a new trier needs to come in and try to participate in, but to come view and come just be a part of the energy and the atmosphere. We're going to set up a ring inside the studio and actually have like competitions. No one's punching each other. They're just going to be going at a bag.
Okay.
And
Punching hard.
Punching really hard.
When is
the
that?
last man standing wins.
Is it the Friday before Thanksgiving?
It's the 17th.
Okay.
The 17th. Awesome. So the 17th, and then Black Friday will be like the 25th or something.
Yeah.
But that kind of kicks off the Black Friday season for us, and it is so fun. We'll have vendors in, we'll be doing all sorts of things, but definitely check us out around Small Business Saturday for like the deals that we'll have going on.
All right, and that's all on Instagram, social media?
All on it. We have, Instagram, social media. We'll be sending email blasts. Yeah.
Great. For people listening, I'll put those Instagram links in the description down below. I think was it just Rumble OKC or Rumble Oklahoma City, something
Rumble
like
Boxing,
that.
Oklahoma.
We can go follow that as well as all the others. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. Thanks for doing this.
Love your passion. Love that you just keep diving into the deep end and saying yes to opportunities, and it's awesome. So excited to see you grow, and I need to take a class now, so I'm gonna have to come back.
Come in. You gotta get in here and punch hard.
Exactly, punch hard.
Okay.
All right, for everyone listening, thanks so much. We'll catch you next episode. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hope you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at oklahomahof. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them, do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.